wealth for themselves and for their families is to leave. The average household income for a family migrating to the West is $50,000 annually. The average household income in sub-Saharan Africa is around $1,000. Migration out of Africa leads to the highest wealth-creating opportunities. And as a result, if you ask most young people what they want, we want to leave. Even though a lot of the time we're not particularly welcome in the West. By 2050, more than 1/3 of the world's youth will be in Africa. That's over 1 billion people. We are here because we do not want these young people to leave. We want them to stay here and to create wealth here. A large part of that wealth creation is in financial services. We started Fingo after discovering the sheer amount of unbanked young people in Africa. 57% of Africans and 19% of Kenyans. And on average, it takes 2 days to create a bank account, whilst the cost of sending money remains the highest in the world, and financial inclusion remains low. Now, what is Fingo? Fingo means finance on the go. Fingo is an app. It is a financial services app dedicated to Africa's youth that enables them to create bank accounts in under 4 minutes, transact for cheaper, save, run their businesses, and ultimately give them access to wealth-creating opportunities. Fingo was started about 3 years ago and has since been part of the acclaimed Y Combinator startup accelerator. We have worked tirelessly alongside Ecobank to arrive at this launch. My name is Keru Muhoya. I'm the CEO of Fingo, named after my grandfather, who's 97 in the audience. Your Excellency, with your permission, Your Excellency, with your permission, allow me to acknowledge my co-founders. Please rise. Ian Juguna, Gitari Chirima, and James Da Costa. Kenyan youth. Young people are so important on the continent. If given the opportunity, we can make an impact beyond anything we could imagine. When hundreds of millions of young people across East Africa, South, West, North, are searching for inspiration, where will they turn to? Every day, millions of young aspiring youth will gaze outside of their disadvantaged backgrounds, hoping for opportunity. We feel the weight of their glares. We feel them, and I know you feel them too. They will turn to us, to you and me, and those that lead our society, to those privileged enough to have the ability to make a difference. We will not fail them. Failure is not an option, and a lot of the solutions we come up with must be technology-focused. Now, Africa can sometimes be a very confusing place. We're the richest continent in terms of natural resource, but remain the poorest. We have the fastest growing workforce in the world, yet the highest unemployment. These are puzzling problems that need urgent solutions. And after a long time researching, I have some ideas. I have found that the solution to a lack of schools is building more schools. I have found that if you need more doctors in a country, it works if you train more doctors. If you need more engineers, if you need more agriculture, more industry, more housing, clean water, renewable energy, ladies and gentlemen, the solution is to build them all. But the question is, who will do this building? And the only true answer is that we must build them all ourselves. Your Excellency, a moment to thank you for your support on this day and the measures you have taken to support young innovators, including the Hustler Fund, the Startup Bill, the bottom-up economic plan that will increase wealth creating opportunities for Kenyans, and all the measures your administration has done to build a more prosperous Africa for its youth. Thank you, Your Excellency. Having seen the need for youth banking, today Fingo and Ecobank come together to build a solution that empowers young people with advanced financial services. Together with a mission to reach hundreds of millions through cutting-edge technology, young people across Africa will have the chance to create a bank account in under 4 minutes without ever visiting a branch, access savings, cheaper transactions, financial education, enabling them to run their businesses, save money, and create wealth for themselves and their families. Our mission is to have young Africans stay on the continent and enable them to create wealth here by building the financial infrastructure that will power Africa's youth economy. Fingo is building the infrastructure that will power what might be the largest, most vibrant economy in the world, with talent and promise deeper than we can imagine. It is our belief that Africa's youth economy, with the right investment, will be among the most prosperous. Thank you to those that believe in this, to Your Excellency for supporting us and for always supporting the continent's youth. Thank you to Ecobank, a bank that we would argue is Africa's most innovative, a bank that covers over 35 African markets, making Kenya the beginning, and this a truly pan-African launch. Thank you to the hundreds of investors, young people, advisors, family and friends, and to the young people across the continent. Let us be the builders. I leave you with a quote from Patrice Lumumba. The day will come when history will speak, but it will not be the history which will be taught in Brussels, Paris, Washington, or the United Nations. Africa will write its own history, and in both the north and the south of the Sahara, it will be a history of glory and dignity. Ladies and gentlemen, help us write the history of Africa's youth. Thank you. Now for a brief demonstration of some of the features we hope to launch today. Thank you.
Next, Your Excellency, I'll now call upon the founder of African Leadership Group, Mr. Fred Swanika. Let's encourage him with a clap as he comes to the stage.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces, Honorable Dr. William Ruto, Honorable members of the Executive, Chair of the Council of Governors, H.E. Ann Waiguri, Jeremy Worry, Ecobank Group CEO, and other Ecobank executives present, Fingo co-founders, Fingo investors and staff, all protocols observed. I was first introduced to Kiru and James by a friend of mine who had invested in Fingo and suggested that I talk to these young people who were starting a very exciting venture. Why did my friend introduce me to Fingo? Because I'm in the talent business. Over the last 20 years, through the African Leadership Group, I've been on a mission to identify the most brilliant young people in Africa and to develop their talents and help them to find opportunities. And so they thought that I could help Kiru and his team to build their team. And since that journey, James and Kiru have become members of our community of talent, something that we call the Room. And the Chief Commercial Officer, Judith Bokongo, is a graduate of one of our programs at ALX. And they have a young data analyst who's working on their team, who's also one of our graduates. So I feel that we've sort of been part of their journey in helping them to build this organization. And today, I want to say a big congratulations to you, Kiru, and your team for reaching this point to where we'll soon be pressing that red button to launch the app. Now, it's no secret that I believe that technology is the future for Africa. Why do I believe this? There are two reasons. First is I believe that technology is key to solving Africa's grand challenges and capturing its great opportunities. We have big challenges like healthcare, climate change, infrastructure, education, and we have to find ways to develop our agriculture, to empower women. There's so many challenges that we face as a continent of Africa. And technology is a way for us to solve these problems because by 2035 we'll have the largest workforce in the world, 1 billion people who need jobs. And therefore, when we have a lot of constraints, we have to think unconventionally. We need to reimagine, we need to reinvent. We cannot solve Africa's problems with conventional methods. We need unconventional methods, and technology is the way which we can do that. I can personally attest to the power of technology. Before the pandemic, we were training a few thousand people on the continent. During the pandemic, we had to leverage technology. And today, we have scaled by 53,000% in just 2 years. And we're training 200,000 software engineers on the continent of Africa. 12,000 of those are here in Kenya. And our goal is to leverage technology to build the next generation of technology talent for the continent. So we aim to develop 5 to 10 million software engineers on this continent of Africa so that we can actually make Africa the next India, the next China, with the talent to power economies. Technology is also crucial for improving public sector governance on the continent. In fact, just yesterday, I was at the African Leadership Invest campus in Rwanda, where I was leading a session with 43 leaders from public sector countries across the continent, including 3 from Kenya, where we're helping them to develop skills to become product managers, to think like how tech companies think. Because what do tech companies do? They first understand their user's problem, then they develop a prototype, they roll it out, and then they use the data to improve it. And that's how we go from version 1, version 2. So we go from iPhone 1 to iPhone 10 to iPhone 15, and it gets better. So we're challenging governments to say, what if you thought of your citizens as users? Understand their needs, develop a prototype of a solution, roll it out using data, and then use the analytics to improve the service, and then it gets better and better and better. Estonia is a great example of this. In Estonia, there are only two things that you need to interact with the government for in person: to get married or to get divorced. Everything else is online. And so we are hoping that we can develop public sector leaders who can allow our governments to function with this level of efficiency. Because what does technology do as well? It improves transparency, it helps to remove corruption, because a lot of things can be traced. And so Kenya's Huduma centers, obviously, it's a wonderful start in that direction. And Your Excellency, we hope that under your leadership, you will continue to push digitization of the government so that your citizens can access so many services much faster and easier at a lower cost, and it will drive transparency and help to reduce corruption. The second reason why I believe that technology is a future is because technology is a powerful force for job creation. When we think about, and there are two ways in which I see Africa doing this. The first is if we can build a large pool of technology talent, we can then tap into the massive global need for technology talent. There's a shortage of 50 to 80 million jobs in the world that are looking for people with technology skills. China is aging, India is aging, Africa remains the youngest continent in the world. So if we can develop technology talent, we can actually export it in the same way in which India today generates $230 billion of foreign exchange. 90% of that comes from outside of India. And every tech worker spends money in restaurants, they have an Uber driver, they spend money in shops, and they bring wealth and they drive the middle class in the country. And so Africa, therefore, has a fantastic opportunity to become the next India by building a large pool of technology talent and attracting foreign exchange into the continent and building the middle class that will actually fuel the economy. And that's, therefore, real imperative for this continent that it's ours to lose. The second reason why technology creates jobs is through entrepreneurship. And in that vein, Kiru and his team are wonderful examples of that. We find in the African Leadership Group that every entrepreneur that we creates between 10 to 15 jobs. These guys are ahead already. They've already got 20 jobs. And as they scale, they promised me that they're going to create 300 jobs at least. Now imagine that going all the way across the continent. There's one graduate from the African Leadership University from 2 years ago who built a tech company. He today employs 50,000 people across the continent. And so you can see young people spinning up around the continent and creating jobs for others. And one of the ways in which this happens is that they employ other young people. We find that young entrepreneurs tend to either hire young people, because entrepreneurs hire their peers. The average age of the people in Kiru's company are 26. And that's what needs to continue as they hire other young people. So I'll end by saying how proud I am by this, and also the significance of the partnership with Ecobank. Because for entrepreneurs to scale, they need to move across the continent. That's how our economies individually are not big enough, but as a continent, we have a big economy. And so, Jeremy, I really applaud your leadership in working with Kiru and his team to help them to scale across the continent, and in doing so, they'll be able to create more jobs. So congratulations again, and here's to Fingo.
Thank you very much. Next, I would like to call upon the CEO for Ecobank Group, Mr. Jeremy Awori. We can clap for him as he comes.
Thank you. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, Cabinet Secretaries, Governors present, members of the Board of Directors of Ecobank Group and our Chair and Ecobank Kenya, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. It's really my distinct pleasure to be with you here this morning for this very proud occasion. It marks, for me, many exciting moments and also shows, excuse me, it also shows the power of partnership and the power of the youth in bringing new technology, and that Africa is not going to be left behind as technology changes the way we live and work. The partnership that I talk about today comes with many friends and professionals that we have worked with over time. You've just heard Fred Swaneker speak from the Africa Leadership Group, who is really looking to empower young Africans across the continent, and is doing so real time. And we've been working with him to try and take those young Africans and give them jobs. We've heard from Kiru, who is a product of the African Leadership Group processes, and through his own tenacity and innovation has come up with the Fingo app that was developed and written and provided here in Kenya and will soon be an export. We've worked with the Ministry of Finance, the Treasury, who is represented by the Cabinet Secretary, Professor Ndung. We've worked with the Central Bank, who supported us to approve this so that it can be launched here in Kenya as a first. And generally, we thank Your Excellency, the President, for driving a digital agenda in Kenya. And we take these things for granted, but I've had the privilege to travel across many African countries. And what we take for granted in terms of government services, being able to do them online, is not consistently applied across the continent. So I think we should be very proud of our e-citizen services that we are able to access on a regular basis here in Kenya. We've also seen the progress of the Hustler Fund, which again makes it easier for our young entrepreneurs to access funds to start their business. And these do not need to necessarily be complicated businesses, but that finance does give them the chance to change their livelihoods, support their family, and achieve their dreams. For us today, this partnership between Fingo Africa, powered by Ecobank, is vitally important. We've spoken to youth and we've asked them what they want, how they want to bank, and it is very different than other segments of the population. They want a product on the go, they want a product that serves their needs, they want a product that is fun, that is exciting, that is convenient, and that evolves over time. And the technology that Fred talked about is actually being able to be empowered through this app. The fact that it can be opened very quickly and easily without having to go into a bank branch already removes the barrier, one of the barriers to opening bank accounts. So by working with Fingo, we're looking forward to banking many young people. We as a bank are represented in 35 African countries and have another 4 countries outside the continent where we provide banking services. So the power here is to launch in Kenya, and I'm very proud as a Kenyan heading Ecobank Group that we're doing this launch here in Kenya. We are a Pan-African bank. We're a Pan-African bank and want to shine the best and most brilliant talent we have across the continent. And in line with the spirit of the Africa Continental Free Trade, it does not just mean free trade of goods, it also means free trade of services, and technology, and that we are able to export such services and innovations across the continent. We are a big bank across the continent. As I've said, we're in 35 countries. We have almost 35 million customers currently and have an aspiration to get to 100 million customers. And through partnerships with the likes of Fingo, we believe we will achieve that in the coming years. As a bank, we firmly believe that we want to partner with the innovative young professionals in fintech, agri-tech, edu-tech, and health tech to be able to come and bank with us and to find an ecosystem that is friendly for them to be able to start their business and to grow their business across the continent. By plugging into Ecobank systems, you are in a position to start trading, receiving, and making payments real-time across the continent. And that is very powerful. I'm sure Fingo soon will have customers opening accounts in Ghana, DRC, Zambia, Sao Tome, and you can make payments real-time. That is powerful and brings together what we've talked about, all these young people. So for me, really, it's just to say we're very excited about this partnership. We see this as a springboard. We want it to trigger off the growth of jobs, the growth of prosperity, give the power of financial inclusion into the hands of our young people, to allow them to really live after and live out their best dreams and hopes. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to take this opportunity to thank Your Excellency for gracing this occasion, for the Cabinet Secretaries and all other dignitaries who took time to be with us here today. We're honored, we're proud of Kiru and Fingo Africa. I want to thank the Ecobank team, both Kenya and group, for making this turn into something that is real, and really looking forward to seeing its continued success. So, asanteni sana. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And Your Excellency, with your permission, at this point, I would like to invite the Cabinet Secretary for ICT and Digital Economy, Mr. Eliud Owalo, who will in turn invite His Excellency to make his remarks. Tumpigie makofi tafadhali akija. Karibu.
Your Excellency, Mr. President, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Your Excellency, this partnership between Ecobank and Fingo is very much in line with your bottom-up economic transformation agenda, most specifically within two thematic areas. In the thematic area of small and medium enterprises, where you deliberately conceptualized, established, and operationalized the Hustler Fund towards financial inclusivity for those living at the bottom of the economic pyramid. This initiative is very much in sync in view of the fact that it is as well targeting the youth for purposes of financial inclusivity. In the same bottom-up economic transformation agenda, Your Excellency, within the key result area of the digital superhighway, as you are all aware, we have embarked on an ambitious program of digitizing all government records and digitalizing all government services. And the fact that Ecobank, working in partnership with Fingo, has come up with this virtual platform where the youth can transact business with the bank without physically visiting the bank is again in tandem with our digitalization agenda within government. Finally, Your Excellency, this initiative has facilitated a situation where the bank's customers are able to transact business while being identified through virtual platforms. And this again is in tandem with our pursuit of a digital identity for all Kenyans, Your Excellency, where in our view, once we digitalize all government services, then while leveraging on digital identity, all Kenyans should be able to transact business with government without physically visiting government services. Again, this is a major initiative from the private sector in augmenting efforts of government in our pursuit of a digital economy, Your Excellency. And in the same vein, I want to encourage as many private sector players as possible to augment our efforts as government so that we realize our overall vision of both a paperless government on one hand and a digital economy on the other, so that we position Kenya effectively by way of comparative advantage for purposes of global competitiveness. With those few remarks, Your Excellency, let us all be upstanding as we welcome the President to address the delegation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please let's take our seats, and good morning. When I was informed about this very important occasion, and that it was about young people, I did not hesitate, because I am aware of the power of the young people of our republic. And as I have said lately, that the single biggest asset that we have as a nation is our human capital. That human capital is 75% young, and therefore the single biggest resource is our human capital represented by our young people. And that is why I am very happy this morning to join you in witnessing another milestone in digital transformation journey of the banking and financial sector. This occasion is indeed unique because what is being launched goes beyond the regular offerings of our local fintech. Fingo Africa application aims to become Africa's first youth-centered and purely digital bank. Ecobank, a large banking institution with Pan-African footprints, has set out to leverage digital fintech and diversify its product offering, and thus attract a young generation of digital clientele. I want to tell my good friend Jeremy and the Ecobank team very big congratulations for believing in our young people. To satisfy this emerging cohort of Generation Z and post-millennial clients, institutions have to get capacity to adapt effectively and efficiently at all levels and across enterprises. This calls for boldness and resolve to embrace pioneering technologies and transformative innovations. This is why I consider this exciting collaboration between Ecobank and Fingo Africa to be a big deal. It brings together the most potent ideas in today's dynamic entrepreneurial universe: the youth, ICT, innovation, and fintech. That is one hell of a powerful collabo. And I want to congratulate Kiru, James, Ian, Gitari. Please stand up so that we can appreciate you. Looking at these young people, this is the face of our new investors, of our new entrepreneurs, and of our new business people. Congratulations again for making the Kenyan youth proud. Tafadhali ketini. As you know, the government of Kenya is undertaking its youth-oriented employment creation commitments as well as ambitious digital economic agenda. Our entire bottom-up agenda for economic transformation is aimed at creating tens of millions of new jobs to absorb many young, skilled Kenyans who graduate from our tertiary institutions every year, and to radically enhance the productivity of our labor. We see these twin undertakings to comprise the most fundamental interventions necessary to stimulate sustained economic growth, increase incomes and wealth, and reduce inequality. I say this firmly because, as I told you earlier, it is our human capital. It is the young people of our nation. And that is why yesterday I launched a new funding mechanism for our higher education, both in our TVETs and in our universities. Because to sharpen our human capital, to equip our young people with what it takes to be productive, to be effective, is for us to have an education system that is accessible, that is of high quality, but also human capital and our young people as the biggest asset that we have as a nation, it is important for government to deploy adequate resources to make sure that our young people get relevant, quality, accessible training and education. And that is the purpose of the program and the new funding model that I launched yesterday, that is going to not only increase the amount of money available for the training and teaching and education of our young people, but it is going to be predictable and it is going to be timely. Let me thank this collaboration between Ecobank and Fingo Africa. The job creation mandate that we have falls upon every pillar of our transformation agenda, with special focus on the digital superhighway and creative economy, the MSME transformation, agriculture and agro-industrial value chains, and the affordable housing program. We have an ambitious program, the digital superhighway and creative economy agenda, aimed at developing 100,000 kilometers of fiber optic infrastructure to connect learning institutions, government institutions, health facilities, even up to every ward in the Republic of Kenya. This initiative will facilitate the creation of 25,000 free public hotspots, 1,450 digital innovation hubs, and the connection of over 40,000 learning institutions across the country. We are rolling out this digital infrastructure because, as was said ably by my good brother there, technology is going to leapfrog our continent into the future. And to be able to make it possible for millions of young people to use technology, it is necessary for us to provide the infrastructure, the digital infrastructure, access to the internet that will make it easy and possible for millions of young people to access opportunity, to do business. It is very important for Kiru and his team that there is a robust infrastructure of digital infrastructure across the country for his business to make sense. And that is why we are deploying this one pillar of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda as a digital superhighway. I have seen the ministry is running with it. The whole of government is focused on it. And as you are all aware, we did undertake that 20 government available in the digital space. Today, we have 3,000, and I am committed that by next month, I am informed by both the Ministry of ICT and the Ministry of Interior that we will have 5,000 services by 30th of May, and by the end of this year, all government services will be available online. And I mean all government services, including marriage and divorce, maybe. So that government can become much more efficient, government can become much more effective, government can become much more transparent, and government can become much more accountable. We can get rid of pilferage, we can get rid of corruption, we can get rid of inefficiency, we can get rid of unnecessary queues and unnecessary visits to government offices, because government services will be available online, and you can access government services from the comfort of your office or your home, or even as you travel around the country. It is my commitment that that is where we want to take Kenya. Additionally, apart from laying the digital infrastructure around the country, I think we are in the process of concluding the production of mobile phones that are enabled, smartphones, let me just put it that way, smartphones and smart gadgets that will be produced in Kenya that are G5 enabled, so that from the comfort of your phone, using your phone, you can be able to not only transact, you can also, and we want to make it available at less than $40. We want to make it available at less than 5,000 shillings as we drive the costs down. So I have some very good news for you, Kiru. Your app will be going places. I am very happy on the e-Citizen platform, and by June 30th, we plan to onboard 5,000 services. We are also working on our government ICT core systems to ensure a fully digital government. The digital transformation agenda is on a robust institutional framework which consists of well-developed policies and legislation. We have the National ICT Policy, the Kenya Startup Act, Data Protection Act, Digital Economy Blueprint, and the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act. They all define the broad direction of Kenya's ambition to consolidate its position as a globally competitive ICT innovation and digital enterprise hub. Our policy framework duly recognizes technology as a primary driver of structural change of our global economy, and specifically provides for the facilitation and regulation of financial technology to promote transactional efficiency, enhance security, and protect private data. In addition to this, the Konza Technopolis, an ongoing Vision 2030 flagship project, is going to be a world-class smart city powered by a thriving ICT ecosystem, taking advantage of superior infrastructure and business-friendly governance. Nearly $1 billion have been committed to the project. As a result, significant infrastructure milestones have been attained on the way to delivering a dedicated ecosystem for the incubation of startups, digital and technological innovations, and a global hub for major corporate investments in ICT, life science, and engineering. I will be launching, by the way, in the Concert Technopolis, our first ever Kenya Open University. I hope we will partner with our good friends so that we can make training of software engineers a first course in our Kenya Open University, so that we can build the body and numbers in our engineering space that will facilitate the uptake of technology, provide the ecosystem for us to leapfrog our young people into opportunities, into jobs, and into other spaces that will improve their lot. I heard Kiru speak about people to leave if you have to get opportunity. Kiru, the good news here is that working with the Ministry of ICT, the whole of government has been mobilized. Part of the reason why we are spreading and we are expanding infrastructure around technology, around digitization, the entire fiber optic backbone that we are working on, is so that millions of young people can have access to internet and technology. And they don't have to leave their villages, they don't have to leave their homes. They can work from there and get and access opportunities anywhere in the world. The digital job ecosystem is huge, and you don't have to travel, you don't have to leave. You can access those opportunities and jobs from the comfort of your village. We are determined to prove that M-Pesa was not a flash in a pan. In a few short years, the world will become familiar with Kenya and its Silicon Savannah as a digitally advanced, industrially competitive global hub of transformative innovations. It is therefore highly encouraging to observe the emergence of a disruptive new entrant into Kenya's busy fintech space. ICTs, especially fintech, have become embedded in Kenyan transactional culture. Our younger generations, who form the overwhelming majority of our population, are extremely agile in the digital universe and take the possibilities of transactional ICTs for granted. In other words, we are a ripe market for appropriate fintechs to thrive in. Although we are here to launch a digital banking application, this is also a story about our collective determination to define the future we wish to live in. The youth, the digital economy, and innovation are all terms that speak to the abundant possibilities that lie in the future and the urgent imperative to begin our quest now. And without a doubt, Fingo Africa has come to the right space, to the right place, and at the right time. I join other well-wishers in congratulating the founders of Fingo Africa on your fine accomplishment. I also welcome your entry into the Kenyan fintech market and wish you great success in exceeding the expectations of millions of young people who will be your customers. And really, really wish you, Kiru, and your team, Ian, here, and Gitari and James and your other collaborators my very best as you show the direction to millions of our young people and provide the possibilities that exist in our nation by pointing the young people of our nation in the right direction. You do not have to be old, you do not have to be white, you do not have to have gray hair, you do not have to have a port, you just need to have a working, functioning mind to be able to get the possibilities of our time. Congratulations to all of you. I have come here deliberately to stand with these young people so that fellow young people in the Republic of Kenya can appreciate the possibilities that exist and can look beyond the challenges that we have and look at the possibilities that exist in our country, in our continent, and global. Congratulations again as I declare Fingo Africa officially launched. And I am told it should be Fingo Africa powered by Ecobank. So let me say one more thing, and speaking to the Pan-African nature of this collaboration between Fingo and Ecobank, that Kenya will be championing, because we already are, the consolidation of the African market within the framework of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, because in that consolidation of that market exists great opportunity for our continent. And as we do that, we must also build the ecosystem that is going to support the coming together of the African people, of the African market, so that we can begin the journey to contribute our share in African trade, in Africa entrepreneurship, and also making it possible for the millions of young people in this continent. We are the youngest continent. We are the continent of the future. As was said here, ably, by 2050, a quarter of the world's population will be living in this continent. And we need to work towards ensuring that the youngest continent with the most creative, innovative labor force provides opportunities for the future. And I have told the Ministry of Finance that Kenya will lead the way in supporting enterprises, medium and small entrepreneurs. Sure that we also support the possibility and the current drive towards having a Pan-African payment system, so that we can be able to trade, we can be able to transact in the African continent irrespective of the currencies of every country. It should be possible for us to do this, to sell, trade with African countries without minding whether this is their currency or that is their currency. That is the possibility that the Pan-African payment system gives us, and Kenya will champion so that we can eliminate the roadblocks and the hurdles that our business people and our entrepreneurs undergo when they try to trade across boundaries. And the Ministry of Waziri, you know my take, and you know what you have to do with all the other stakeholders. So again, congratulations to all of you. I wish you the very best, and I look forward to working with the young people of our nation, especially in this technology and fintech and digital space. Asanteni sana.
A warm round of applause for His Excellency for that wonderful speech. And allow me to call Jeremy, Josephine, and Cairo to come. And now all we need to do, Your Excellency, is to officially launch Fingo, powered by Ecobank, by the press of that red button. So I'll ask you to join His Excellency there as he's going to now press that button. And we have this officially. Of course, this being a digital app and a digital platform, then it means that this is a digital launch. So we'll just have His Excellency press the red buzzer, and we'll now have the app officially launched as we do that. Meanwhile, we're going to have a photo opportunity after this, right here on stage. So, Your Excellency, as soon as you're ready, you can press the red buzzer, and we have the app officially launched. In 3, 2, 1, action. Wonderful, wonderful. Right there. And it is now officially launched and active. And at this point, allow me, Your Excellency, with your permission, just to have the CSs, or they're already on stage. Then let's have Josephine Anand, Fred Swanika, Ian Juguna,